Hey everyone, welcome and welcome back. We are starting on chapter 2 today in the book of Matthew. So let's go ahead and get started. After Jesus was born in Bethlehem in Judea during the time of King Herod, Magi from the east came to Jerusalem and asked, "Where is the one who has been born King of the Jews? We saw his star when it rose and have come to worship him." When King Herod heard this, he was disturbed, and all Jerusalem with him. When he had called together all the people's chiefs, priests, and teachers of the law, he asked them where the Messiah was to be born. "In Bethlehem in Judea," they replied, "for this is what the prophet has written. But you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah. For out of you will come a ruler, who will shepherd my people Israel." Then Herod called the Magi secretly and found out from them the exact time the star had appeared. He sent them to Bethlehem and said, "Go and search carefully for the child. As soon as you find him, report to me so that I too may go and worship him." After they had heard the king, they went on their way, and the star they had seen when it rose went ahead of them until it stopped over the place where the child was. When they saw the star, they were overjoyed. On coming to the house, they saw the child with his mother Mary, and they bowed down and worshipped him. Then they opened their treasures and presented him with gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And having been warned in a dream not to go back to Herod, they returned to their country by another route. When they had gone, an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream. "Get up," he said, "take the child and his mother and escape to Egypt. Stay there until I tell you, for Herod is going to search for the child to kill him." So he got up, took the child and his mother during the night, and left for Egypt, where he stayed until the death of Herod. And so was fulfilled what the Lord had said through the prophet, "Out of Egypt I called my son." When Herod realized that he had been outwitted by the Magi, he was furious, and he gave orders to kill all the boys in Bethlehem and its vicinity who were 2 years old and under, in accordance with the time he had learned from the Magi. Then what was said through the prophet Jeremiah was fulfilled. "A voice is heard in Ramah, weeping and great mourning, Rachel weeping for her children and refusing to be comforted, because they are no more." After Herod died, an angel of the Lord appeared in a dream to Joseph in Egypt and said, "Get up, take the child and his mother and go to the land of Israel, for those who were trying to take the child's life are dead." So he got up, took the child and his mother, and went to the land of Israel. But when he heard that Archelaus was reigning in Judea in the place of his father Herod, he was afraid to go there. Having been warned in a dream, he withdrew to the district of Galilee, and he went and lived in a town called Nazareth. So was fulfilled what was said through the prophets, that he would be called a Nazarene. Matthew starts this chapter off with stating where Jesus was born. And he says, after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea. And he says Bethlehem of Judea because there was another town that was named Bethlehem, but it was much smaller and it wasn't known as much as Bethlehem of Judea. And also, Bethlehem of Judea is King David's hometown. This was prophesied in the Old Testament in the book of Micah that the Messiah would come from Bethlehem of Judea. And so Jesus, the Messiah, fulfills this prophecy. Magi is translated to wise men. And these wise men were known to study stars and interpret dreams. So when they saw his star, they already knew that the king had arrived. The wise men, knowing that there was something amazing that was going to happen, there was a king that was going to come, they already knew that this star was a sign. And we can read this in the book of Numbers, and it's a story of Balaam, who was hired by a king, and that king wanted him to put a curse on the people of Israel. So he took Balaam to a mountain, and he's like, look, put a curse on everybody here. And so Balaam was like, all right. And as soon as Balaam was about to curse the people of Israel, the Spirit of God came upon him. And instead of putting a curse on the people of Israel, God came and blessed them. And so in the book of Numbers, we can read chapter 24, verse 17, and it says, I see him, but not now. I behold him, but not near. A star will come out of Jacob, a scepter will rise out of Israel. That was telling the wise men that this is a star that Balaam was talking about, meaning Jesus, the King of Kings, had arrived. So these wise men brought 3 gifts to Jesus, and they each have a symbolic meaning. Gold is kingship, which Jesus is King of Kings. Then you have frankincense, which symbolizes divinity. And then you have myrrh. And myrrh was actually used to prepare bodies for burial. And so this symbolizes suffering and death, which Jesus went through. And I also want to point out that nowhere in this text does it say 3 kings. A lot of stories and songs talk about 3 kings that visit Jesus in a stable. Jesus was already living in a house. He wasn't a newborn. And there was more than just 3 men that came to see Jesus. It was probably several. And these men were not kings. Which is why it's important for you to do your own research and also to read the Bible so you can actually get the correct information. So when the wise men finally saw Jesus, as it says in this text, when they saw the star, they were overwhelmed with joy. Entering the house, they saw the child with Mary, his mother, and falling to their knees, they worshipped him. King Herod had a whole different feeling when it came to Jesus, because he wanted to protect his throne, and King Herod was wicked. Like, there's a lot of wicked people in the Bible, but King Herod, he didn't want anybody to take his place, not even his own kids. He killed his wife. He killed two of his sons because he already knew what came with having sons. And so when he heard about Jesus, he's like, oh, okay, all right, so go find this king so I can worship him too, knowing that wasn't his plan. He wanted to kill him. Because after they met Jesus, they had a dream to not go back to King Herod, and so they ended up going a different route to go home. When King Herod found out that they didn't come back, that they went a whole different way, he was furious. And it was already a few months that had passed. As you can imagine, that when the wise men had to walk to Jesus, that was already a few months in. And also when King Herod found out that the wise men just took a different way home. At that point, he was like, all right, well, kill every child 2 years and under in and around Bethlehem. So innocent children were being killed, not only in the Bethlehem of Judea, but the surrounding areas. You'll notice throughout this chapter that Matthew is pretty much just fact-checking everything that the Old Testament prophesies. And this next verse, verse 18, is a prophecy that was spoken through the prophet of Jeremiah. A voice is heard in Ramah, weeping and great mourning, Rachel weeping for her children and refusing to be comforted because they are no more. Ramah is a town north of Jerusalem. Also, that is where Rachel was buried. And Rachel was known to be the mother of Israel. That's what she symbolizes. She's a mother figure, a female leader. And this prophecy was fulfilled when these children were being killed. You know, you have the mothers crying, these innocent children, 2 years and under, were being killed. So an angel of the Lord appears in Joseph's dream, telling him that King Herod has died and that he can go to Israel to raise Jesus. But then he also heard that Archelaus, and I'm pretty sure I'm saying that name wrong, but he's the son of King Herod. He was just as bad as his dad was. He was killing innocent people, and so Joseph was like, "Nah, I'm not taking my family there." So knowing that King Herod's son was now the new king, he ended up taking his family, Jesus and Mary, to the town of Nazareth, which is another prophecy stating that Jesus would be called a Nazarene. And just the FYI, Nazareth wasn't a known town, and if they did know about the town, it wasn't nothing good that came from that town. And we can read about this in the book of John, chapter 1, verses 45 through 46. And it says, Philip found Nathanael and told him, "We have found the one Moses wrote about in the law, and about whom the prophets also wrote, Jesus of Nazareth, the son of Joseph." Nazareth? Can anything good come from there? Nathanael asked. So that wraps up chapter 2. And like I said, I hope you do your own research when it comes to the Bible. You'll learn something new every time you read it. You might have missed it the first time, or if you do read it with somebody, or if you watch a video, they might point something out that you missed. So I will always encourage you to do your own research. It definitely helps to understand the Bible a lot more. So I will see y'all in the next video. Thanks for watching.